I'm Antonio. Some of you may know me as A6. Today what we're going to be covering is confidence, mind mastery. We're going to go over some of that stuff. And also I wanted to start off with understanding the opposite point of view. Very recently, actually yesterday, I got into a large debate with a friend of mine because we happened to be out. And what we usually do when we go out, we hang out sometimes, we might like go to a different area, or we might go from area to area depending on how many people are at the spot that we want to go to. So what we might do is post up along the wall and just chill for a minute and just watch everything that's happening. And then sometimes he might engage somebody and start talking to somebody. I might walk off to find out another area that might be more entertaining than the area we're currently in. So as a result, he had said later on that I'd done it a lot that night, which I didn't even realize I was doing. But when I had walked away one of the times, there's a gentleman that walked up to him and started to really get in his face and talk to him. And he was like, he'd been drinking a lot. The guy was all over the place. I didn't see this. So apparently the guy went over to him when I wasn't there and was being very physically aggressive towards him. So he was irritated at me because I wasn't there. I personally didn't agree because I don't see why, I didn't personally understand why he was upset because I wasn't there to do anything about it. I happened to step away and that's when it occurred. So he had explained that it didn't feel like I was there when I needed to be, which I didn't really understand. And I didn't agree with what he was saying at all, personally. I thought it was I thought it was out of left field to assume that somebody's supposed to be there when something happens. But regardless, you're supposed to still understand what the person's saying and hear out what they're saying. And if it's important enough for them to bring up, it should be important enough for you to listen, which I did do multiple times. So let's say, for instance, you have a debate. So there's a debate here, okay? Now we're not going to go too deep into this. We're just going to put a few bullet points. So you got one side here and you have the other side right here, okay? So let's say side A, this is side A right here, and this will be side B. Okay, so side A feels a certain way about something. So let's say they think something, let's say wasn't done correctly from their perspective, of course. We don't need to write that. Okay, so let's say side A thinks something wasn't done correctly, okay? Side B, let's say side B does not see it that way. Well, here's the issue. You can't expect side A, let's say this is the person who has the problem, who's upset. Side A feels a certain way about what was done or what was said in that particular circumstance, and they feel the way they feel for either personal, it could be their personal beliefs, past experiences, it could be how they were raised. You just never know when it comes to certain things. So if they think something wasn't done correctly by their standard, in some cases there's no written rule to how things should be done, but there's rules of engagement, if you would. There's ways that things are supposed to be dealt with in a person's eyes. Side B might not see it that way. Side B may not have been raised like side A, so therefore they don't see anything wrong with what was done or said. And that comes down into an area where it's basically a gray area. So side A feels the way they feel, and let's say side B doesn't agree with the way they feel, but they see how upset it's making side A. Side B responsibility is, okay, state your point, say what you have to say. I listened to everything my friend said. I tried to understand and rationalize his way of thinking, which it kind of made a little bit of sense, but it wasn't justified for somebody to be upset at somebody else about it. So my responsibility basically was to listen to what he was saying, understand that I was listening. I did apologize for something that I had done, which is walk away and not even consider the fact that something crazy could have happened and I wouldn't have been there. I didn't consider that, and I didn't feel like there was any reason not to walk away. I didn't feel like there was any reason to hang around because we weren't in a really dangerous area or anything like that. So something's happened, but when you go out to a bar or wherever you go, things like that can happen. So, I didn't see it that way personally, but my job, again, was to listen to what he had to say. and to apologize to him for whatever I had done to make him feel that way. And just tell him, look, I don't agree with you. I think, what you're saying is, I understand why you're saying it, but I don't think I'm wrong in this scenario. I don't personally think that, but I will apologize to you because I didn't want to upset you. I simply did not know that you would be upset about something like that. I try not to do it again in the future. I didn't realize it was that serious, but if you're going to sit here and make a big deal out of this, well, obviously it means something to you. So with that said, and you being a friend of mine, I do apologize. And I'll try not to upset you again, but you need to understand that maybe it's just a certain point of view. I wasn't raised that way. I didn't encounter a situation like that. If it had happened to me, I wouldn't even think twice about it. Let's say I was out with him, and he went to go do something, and we were in like a non-dangerous area. We knew the area. We'd been there plenty of times before, which is the case here. And he walked away for whatever reason to go do something else, and something happened with me and another person, and he wasn't there. I wouldn't be upset at him because he wasn't there. Now, if it was a situation where something had happened and he was there and he wasn't helping me out, that'd have been different. That's a completely different scenario. But to me, I didn't really understand why he was upset. But when he started to explain himself, I can tell he was very emotional about it. And that's obviously a pet peeve of his. But just because I don't feel like it's a pet peeve to me doesn't mean I have to undermine how he feels about it. So there you go right there. And when you have two different sides, it's just something I wanted to reiterate. If you have two different sides, it's very important for both sides to do their point. So let's say this guy here is upset. He needs to express why he's upset. He needs to think about whether he agrees with what he's saying or not. Whether he does or he doesn't, he still owes this person the respect to listen to what they're saying. Now, a lot of times what may happen to this person here, this person might not want to listen to this person. Because if this person says, well, I don't see it that way, but I apologize, this person might only hear, I don't see it that way. And this person might not want to hear anything else and just get completely emotional. But it's this person's job to make sure he realizes that this person is getting emotional because it's important to them. So again, sometimes it takes patience when you're dealing with people. Sometimes you just got to relax and talk to them and try to make sure that they understand as much as possible that you didn't mean to disrespect or upset them. But the bottom line is you're trying to get to a good resolution for both. So that's what we'll cover for that part. So anytime you have a debate with one of your friends, try using this simple scenario and remember exactly what we talked about here, because these simple things can really help you out. All right, so we're going to move on from now to